Now this is some prints off the guns I did for a client who wanted Napoleon's battle scenes, you know, from the Battle of Wagram, and these are just the engraving. These are the prints that I used to take before photography, really. You lick the paper so it dampens it, and you rub the printer's ink into the cuts, and then you rub the back down. Some of these are discoloured because they've been standing around for a long time. This is the Battle of Waterloo, where the British formed the squares against the French cavalry. And you see some of the wounded there. The ink has smudged a bit. They're very difficult to take, some of these prints, to get the real clarity. You get about one in a dozen sometimes that are pretty well okay, but you can see, because of the shapes of the guns and the actions in certain areas, it doesn't really take. Well, this is the way we used to keep the records of the work in the old days. They're called gunmakers' pools, and they're quite interesting, really, because they show you the depth of the cut sometimes. Now, this was before we did the Bellino with a dot technique, because the gunmakers at the time hardened their guns and took off the colour if it did, and of course they took off a lot of the fine engraving, and the majority of the guns weren't for collectors, they were for shooting. And you can see the holes where the screws come through, so that impedes the design sometimes. And this is Napoleon when he became emperor. I did them at quite a speed, really. You know, I had so many guns waiting, and I was a gun engraver, you know, sort of get the work out. There weren't very many engravers at the time, and so that's my story. They do discolour. They were on old postcard prints. Some papers didn't take prints very well, and some did, but of course then they had wood pulp in them, and it discolours. It just gives you an idea of what we did. This is crowning himself as emperor with Josephine. There we go. And there's the Egyptian campaign. The Egyptian campaign there.